Hi, this is Ellen from the Chili Dog, and today I am casting on an Azalea sock, and I'd like to teach you how to do the Old Norwegian Cast On that I'm using. The Old Norwegian Cast On is a long tail cast on method, and it works really nicely for things like top-down socks and mittens and gloves because it provides this really nice elastic and stretchy edge. And this is especially important when you're knitting socks from the top down because you don't want this edge to be too tight and digging into your leg all day. So let me grab my yarn and needles and let's get started. To start our cast on, we need to make a slip knot in the yarn, and the slip knot needs to be positioned so that you have a yarn tail that's about 3 to 4 times longer than what you're casting on. So for my case, I'm casting on a sock that's going to be about 8 inches around, so I need to make sure that this yarn tail is at least 24 to 32 inches long. And it's better if your tail is too long than too short. If it's too short, you may not be able to cast on all the stitches you need. If it's too long, all you have to do is just trim off the end when you get done. So to make your slip knot, you take your yarn, twist it so that the working yarn goes over the top of the yarn tail, put your fingers through the loop, grab onto the working yarn and pull it through the loop, and then you can just pull on the yarn tail to tighten everything up. Put your knitting needles through the loop, and then to tighten the loop, pull on the working yarn. So next we need to position our yarn on our hands in a slingshot so that the working yarn goes over your index finger and the yarn tail goes over your thumb. You can use these other 3 fingers to add a little tension to your work and hold both the working yarn and then come forward and hold on to the yarn tail. Once those 3 fingers are holding your yarn, you really don't need to let go. It makes it easier to position your hands after each stitch that you cast on. Now turn your hand over to the side and you can see that I have this nice loop around my thumb. The knitting needle goes under both strands of that loop, comes up in between, and then dive down right back through the center of that loop. And when you do that, you can see that I've got this nice gap on my knitting needle. You want to pull your working yarn through that gap. So bring your yarn forward and pull the working yarn through that gap carefully. And then you can drop the loop that's on your thumb off and use your thumb to pull on the yarn tail, and it tightens up that first stitch that's cast on. So let's cast on another. Bring your needle under both strands of the loop on your thumb and then dive down through the thumb loop, making a little gap. Pull your working yarn through that little gap. Drop the loop off your thumb. Use the thumb to pull the yarn tail and tighten up your stitches. One more time. Needle goes under both strands of the loop on your thumb, down through the thumb loop. Pull your working yarn through the gap. Drop the loop off your thumb and tighten up the stitches. Under both strands of the thumb loop, down through the thumb loop, pull the working yarn through the gap, drop the loop off your thumb, pull the yarn tail to tighten up the stitch. Under both strands of the thumb loop, down through the thumb loop, pull the working yarn through the gap, drop the loop off your thumb, and tighten up the stitches. And you just continue in that method until you've cast on however many stitches you need. I hope you enjoyed learning how to do the Old Norwegian Cast On. I'd love to know what your favorite cast on method is for top-down socks. Just leave a note in the comments below. And until next time, happy knitting!